I had talked to a recruiter because recruiters for the military come to your high school and whatnot, and you can actually talk to them.
Right.
Right. I couldn't talk to scouts. I couldn't talk to college scouts. They wouldn't come talk to us unless they had permission. So
And you
no one
you
was
couldn't
coming
get
to
them
talk
because
to
they
me.
were throwing the letters away, or mom was right.
So I was seeing these guys that I was just as good as on my team getting talked to by college scouts and pro scouts and stuff like that. And I'm like, why am I not getting talked to? I know I'm good at. Why am I not getting talked to? So I was dejected. I was down. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go see the military because was dead set on going to college to play baseball. Dead set. There was nothing else. I didn't want to get a job. I wanted to go to college to play baseball. I knew I wasn't big enough. I was probably fast enough, but I wasn't big enough to get drafted right out of high school. That just wasn't going to happen. I knew that, but I knew I could go to college to play ball, whether it was locally or a big time program. I knew I could. So I went and talked to Marine Corps recruiter. He promised me sunshine and rainbows. I was like, look, I'm into baseball. He's like, oh, you can play baseball? Oh, yeah, no problem. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
A week after I graduated, my mom was gone. I got a friend to come, snuck me off the recruiters. I forged my mom's signature for me to join the military.
And you were thinking you were going to get in there and play some ball, and so that didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen.
Baseball.
I mean, I did play some baseball, but it was on my own time on Sundays at a sandlot league with just a bunch of guys that just wanted to come together and play ball.
Right.
But no, and so I forged my mom's signature. She didn't know I was leaving for the military and boot camp till the night before I left.
Wow. Talk about that conversation.
No, there was no. There's.
I'm out in the morning later.
Yep. I left with one bag, clothes on my back, and that was that.
Wow. And so you decided to join the Corps, and where's your first stop? I mean, you had to have been nervous and scared shitless and excited at the same time. I couldn't imagine being 18, 17, and embarking on a journey like that. And did this have anything to do in and around 9/11? You joining?
I was young enough to play my last summer of Legion baseball, so I did stay. Like I knew I was joining the military, but I was just young enough to play my last summer of Legion baseball.
Okay.
I stayed my last summer of Legion baseball. Because I wanted to play ball, so I did that, and then boot camp was at Parris Island, South Carolina, and that was in 1999, September of 99. I was supposed to go. Actually, no, it was later. I think it was October. I was supposed to go in September, but there was a hurricane in 1999. I forget which hurricane it was, but it decimated South Carolina, the coast, and North Carolina, so it delayed my departure for like a month.
Wow, so this is 99. This is 3 years before 9/11 happens, and so you're going in with intentions. Did you have any other intentions besides baseball? Maybe get an education, maybe learn a craft or a trade in, or you just wanted to get away and get out of house?
I just wanted to get away. Wanted to get away. I didn't want to have to deal with my mother anymore.
Right.
I was 18 because I turned 18 in July.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I'm an adult now, technically, so I can do what the hell I want, right? That's what we all think when we turn 18. And no, it was October. The recruiter came and picked me up, and I didn't even hug and kiss my mom bye.
Wow.
Let's just get in the car and let's go. Take me to Harrisburg. Wait until I catch that flight, and let's start doing this.
And what about little bros? Were they kind of broken up about you leaving?
Yeah, they were.
They're probably hurt, huh?
They were.
Big brother leaving. Did you feel bad about that?
A little bit, because I was leaving them in the detriment of how our mother was, because they got it just as bad as I did. So.
Oh, so you were kind of thinking now they're gonna get it worse.
Yeah. And it did end up transpiring that way. Mm. So I think maybe that's probably why our relationship changed after I left. I guess they felt abandoned by their big brother. I don't know, but
have you ever had that conversation?
A couple times, but we all hate her now. So
no, I mean, have you ever had the conversation that they may have think you were abandoning them, but really it seems like you're abandoning her?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've had that conversation.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
we all have a very deep rooted hatred for our mother. All
Mm,
three of us do.
wow. Um, so you get to South Carolina, 18-year-old kid, ready to change the world, man, and take on the world. And now you're in the military. And what was it like? What do they teach you guys out of the gate? You probably can't get too much into detail, but they just take away you as a person and rebuild you
They
from the
they
ground
strip
up.
they strip you down. They make you feel like the lowest of the low. You're sleep deprived. You're food deprived. Now that was the only part that was tough for me, was the food part. I got in trouble I don't know how many times for sneaking food from the chow hall back to the barracks and eating it late at night because I was so damn hungry. But the whole yelling thing and the whole discipline thing, I was used to this. I was getting yelled at without getting beat. I'm like, shit, yell at me all you want, you're not beating me.
Right. Well, but that's interesting because my initial thought is, I just come from a chaotic environment like that. People constantly in my face and yelling at me. And then to go into that environment voluntarily, I would think that someone like me, I would get defensive. And like you probably dealt with guys like me that didn't last but 3 weeks and they were gone
Yeah.
because yeah. So how do you come to terms with like I'm gonna take this person in my face yelling at me after dealing with that for 18 years?
I think you go into it knowing that, like, then they give you the spiel, like, I'm your drill instructor, I'm your senior drill instructor, I'm your drill instructor, you will obey everything. The only words out of your mouth, yes sir, no sir, sir, that kind of stuff. They teach you real quick. You don't say I, you don't say me, you say this recruit. Like, they make you feel like the biggest piece of crap that has ever walked the face of the planet.
They strip you of
Um,
everything and rebuild you.
yeah, they strip you of every, like, you can't go into boot camp. I don't know how it is now, but and my grandfather and my dad would always bust my balls about it. Oh, you don't understand what we went through. We did get beat, and that was the case.
Right.
And I think now I think moms of America have gotten into it even more, that boot camp is way different. I think it changed even after a couple years after I was out completely. So, but people were constantly in my face. I mean, I got in a lot of trouble in boot camp from laughing. I mean, some of my one-liners and some of the things I come up with, I've heard before, and it's been from drill instructors. They are probably the funniest people you ever meet in your life. If you're a recruit in the Marine Corps and you're going through boot camp, you will hear some of the funniest shit you've ever heard in your life, and you
Have
can't help but laugh.
you ever
So
thought about
I would be getting PT'd to death on the quarterdeck just from laughing at other people getting yelled at.
did you ever think about becoming a drill sergeant and like going that route?
Hell no,
Hell no.
no. Those guys are a different breed, man. Those guys are a different breed. Like, they could barely talk. They would cough up blood from always yelling. Like, you could like you talk about putting, like, people with emphysema or throat cancer or something like that, having to put one of those things up to their throat to talk. Like, that's how they would sound, because they were constantly yelling. They were never not yelling.
Just
Um,
angry people.
angry people, bro.
Oh my
Like,
god.
they are. And then you meet, and then I, like, later on I would meet some of them when I got into the fleet, when I got to my duty station and stuff, and they were no longer drill instructors. The nicest people you ever meet in your life.
Yeah, they can finally breathe and
But
exhale.
but the part of being a Marine is being able to flip that switch on and off at a moment's notice.
Sure.
Being able to adapt to any situation, and, like, whether it be bad, good, like good, bad, or indifferent. Being able to flip that switch at a moment's notice.
Mm-hmm. And what was your training like as far as like specialties and stuff? If you
Training.
can.
Boot camp was, run of the mill, PT, classes, basic first aid, stuff like that. Nothing.
Right.
But when I took my ASVAB, I scored pretty high on my ASVAB. I could have did probably anything but intel.
What's
But I
ASVAB?
chose. I can't remember the acronym, but it's the test you take. It's like a basic.
It's the entry test.
Yeah. Basic.
Where-
What is it?
It's kind of like where they place you after you take this test. They say, okay, this guy will be good in this area.
Yeah, but it's different than like an SAT or a PSAT or an aptitude test or something like that. It's completely different.
Did you have to fire a weapon?
No, not for the ASVAB test. No, it's a written test.
Okay, so
yeah.
And had you already fired a weapon at this point in life? I mean, because I've never fired a weapon. I know that might sound weird as a 43-year-old man, but I've never fired a handgun, anything like that. Like,
I think
I
I was
think I fired like a
15.
small 22 rifle or something when I was real, younger. But go ahead.
I think I was 15 when I fired my first weapon.
You're 15. Okay, so
Not legally.
you weren't completely unaware to it, but what was that like when they introduced that? They place you into
Oh, that was great.
so you
That
pass
was
your ASVAB, you call it?
Yeah, but you take that as a civilian. That's your entry.
Okay.
You take that as a civilian because then you get based on that you get to pick what job you want to go to.
Okay.
So I could have did anything but intel. I didn't score really high, but I didn't score really low. So my dad was an infantry rifleman in the Marine Corps. My grandfather was an infantry rifleman in the Marine Corps. So I was like, I'll get 0311 infantry rifleman. Let's go. And that's just your basic, boots on the ground soldier. You carry an M16. Now there's you can join weapons platoons where you can carry bigger weapons. You can be a mortarman. You can be, there's so many things. There's so many other things you can be inside of an 0311 once you get to your duty station and they separate you into platoons, weapons company. There's different companies within a battalion. There's different groups within a company. But I just did 0311. I carried an M16. I mean, I fired multiple weapons during training ops. Like I've fired rocket launchers, AT4s, 249s. I've shot.
Yeah, so
I don't know how many.
You mentioned that now that there's kind of different divisions, but back when you did it, were you guys all kind of the one all? You did everything, like whatever they gave you, you figured out how to work and or did you make your own divisions back then?
No, it was separated. It was still separated.
Oh, like it was still back then. Okay.
I went my first duty station. I went to school. I went to boot camp. At their boot camp, I went to School of Infantry School, which was in Camp Geiger, North Carolina.
Okay.
And then my duty station was right down the road, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. It wasn't far from Camp Geiger, where the School of Infantry is. So I went to one of the most well-known battalions in the Marine Corps. They're 1st Battalion, 8th Marines. They were actually, if you know anything about the Beirut bombing, they were part of the Beirut bombing. That was the division that got hit in Beirut.
Wow.
But I was part of that, and I was just a 0311. 0311 Alpha Company, 1st Platoon, and then inside the platoon you had guys that were machine gunners.
Okay, right.
Inside your platoon you had squads. There was normally 4 squads per platoon, 4 teams per squad, and then each team had a squad leader, then a team leader, and then you had a guy that carried an M203, and then you had a guy that carried a machine gun, and then there's just so many things inside once you get in there and break it all down. But then you had another company that was strictly heavy weapons.
Okay.
And then you had a mortar company, and then you had your tank company, or your and then you had Motor T that all they did was drive the trucks or the vehicles that took us to wherever we were going.
So you're an 18-year-old kid, and they throw an M16 in your hand. You must have just been like, "Oh hell yeah, dude!" Are you one of these guys that can take apart an M16 in like 8 seconds?
Oh yeah.
It's like all the way down to its last bolt.
Oh yeah, they teach you that real quick. I mean, I got to shoot the M16 in boot camp because you have to rifle qual. So, I got to shoot the M16 for real in boot camp. But that's you want to talk about the most locked down, intricate. You're 18 and you're giving a kid an M16. Like the stuff that goes on around you, the stuff that they prepare you for, like the just the security, the paint by number, so to speak. What is it? Micromanagement. It's crazy. So, but me being an infantry rifleman, we rifle qualled once every 3 months. So every 3 months I was going to shoot my M16 on top of training ops. We didn't really have training ops with live bullets. We would have tracer rounds. We'd do night shoots. We'd have basically paintball ammunition type. It was a bullet, but it wasn't a lethal bullet. We would do ops with that and stuff.
And so, do they allow you to take your weapon back to your barracks with you and get used to it, or is it something you did that just
only if we were going somewhere, we were going training or whatnot? But it would be staged with your gear. It wouldn't be in the barracks. It wouldn't be in your room. It wouldn't be. It would always be occupied. Somebody would always be watching it.
You'd
Somebody
have to
was always
check it in,
almost
check it in and out. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Check it in and out to the armory. A lot of time we would go back to the barracks to clean it, but we wouldn't be cleaning in our rooms. We wouldn't we weren't allowed to take the weapon into our room. We'd be outside or outside the barracks in the picnic area or something like that, or outside the armory. But no, man, those things under lock and key.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why you see in the movies all the guys in the barracks and they're sitting there shining their gun or they're taking it apart and getting used to it. That's what you picture because that's the movies, but it's not realistic, you know. It's
I don't know how many times I cleaned my weapon for no reason. We didn't have anything to do, and they didn't want us chilling in our rooms. All right, go over to the armory, get your weapon out, and clean it. Well, we just cleaned it for 8 hours yesterday. I don't give a shit. Clean it again.
But they get you to know
the worst time was downtime when you're in garrison. The worst time was downtime when you didn't have anything to do. There was no classes. There was no training. There was like you're just waiting around to do something, and you're just police calling, which is just walking around the barracks, walking around the quad where the barracks are located, picking up cigarette butts, picking up trash, freaking field daying, which is cleaning your room. Like that was the worst part. The absolute worst part was not having anything to do and then making us do something even though it didn't need to be done.
And just bored out of your mind. So 9/11 happens and you're pretty well trained. You're 3 years into your training and you're at this point, if anything were to happen, you're ready to rock, and lo and behold, something does happen. What was that moment like when you got that call?
Well, it was kind of scary. We didn't get the call. We didn't get the call until 2 years later. So we weren't a first responder to 9/11. We thought we would go. Because we were the next MEU to be deployed. Well, actually, no. We had just come off. Yeah, we had just come off of deployment. We had just come off a 6-month Mediterranean deployment because I was married. I came back from that deployment. My first son was born when I was 19. I was on deployment when he was born. I was on a 6-month deployment when he was born. I came back from that. Ended up getting married right after I turned 20. Moved her down to North Carolina. We had a place outside of base. And when that happened, I was actually cross-training to be a mortarman. We were on a mortar range when all that went down. And our chief warrant officer comes speeding up in a Humvee. Get your shit. Get on the trucks. Get back to the barracks. Wait for further instruction. We had no fucking clue what was going on. Jeez. No idea. We were training. We were shooting mortars on a mortar range.
Yeah.
So we get back to the barracks and they have us falling. They have us get in formation outside the barracks. Company commander comes and tells us what's going on, and we're like, what? Like, bro. So, and they were like, if you're a brown bagger, they called brown baggers married Marines that lived off base. He's like, if you're a brown bagger, they're like, if you're a brown bagger, you better get your stuff, get off base before they lock base down. So I'm scrambling, get all my stuff together, get in the car, drive home, and my wife at the time, she's just in the living room crying. She's like, no, you leaving? Because we had no idea what was going on. And I'm watching it unfold on TV. And I'm just like, all right, it's go time. Let's go. But we didn't go. My unit didn't go. Our battalion didn't go. We didn't go until March of 2003.
2 years later.
Yeah. So we did workups. We did cold weather training in Bridgeport, California, which was pretty damn fun because I love cold weather. So we're in the mountains of Bridgeport, whiteout conditions in the snow, got snowshoes, we're skiing and shooting, and we're doing all kinds of crazy shit, eating rabbits.
What were they training you for there? I mean, different environment, obviously.
Yeah, just a different environment.
Yeah, okay.
And then did some more training in Norway.
Wow.
That was pretty cold too. We did a helo dunk in Norway. So if you got in a helicopter crash, they simulated you getting in a helicopter crash in water.
And you got to get out?
Yeah, you got to get
Obviously. No, just have a seat and enjoy the ride, man. Wow.
But yeah, we were just waiting, and lo and behold, we didn't stage anything, and we didn't go anywhere. We didn't go to Iraq. We didn't deploy to Iraq till March of 2003.
Wow. March 2003, you get to Iraq. That had to have been a life-changing experience, obviously. How long were you there?
11 months.
11 months. And,
11 months. I went for 5, came home for, I think 8 days, just to regroup, and then went back over for 6 more months.
And the second time was by choice, right? Because after you come back, you don't have to go back. Oh, okay.
No.
I misunderstood. Okay, wow, man, that's
so. But yeah, that was that was something.
I could only imagine. I mean, what a crazy time too. And you're in a different place, and you're still young as all hell. 22, 23, I guess at this time, right? 20. Wait, I'm bad at math, but
I'm plus we're old, so
yeah,
after you get a certain age, the years just start running together.
Yeah, they start running together, but still,
I was 20, 22.
Still young as shit, but at the same time, at that point, just a full grown ass man. You know what I mean? Like me at 22, I'm still, picking boogers and like, dude, there's the dichotomy of you 22 versus me 22 is just like, it's a whole different planet. But what an experience, man. And cliche as it sounds, thank you for your service. I mean, I can only imagine what you've been through and seen, and it's so cool to hear a little bit inside of like the boot camp and what you guys deal with, and appreciate you sharing that. And if you ever want to, share further, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the guys that didn't make it home now. So it's,
Yeah, I understand. For me, being a Kep fan, there's kind of a gap in time frames, and we talked about it pregame a little bit. But for me, there's a gap between end of military and the time that you met your queen right now, Mrs. Cece, and there's a huge gap there. Now I'm starting to learn that this is where the college baseball happened, and you mentioned a little pro football action too. Talk about life after military, leading up to meeting Cece.
Right. So I ended up getting divorced from my first wife. She ended up cheating on me with somebody that was in my unit that I confided in when we were separated. Had no idea. They're still happily married and whatever. But that led me to being young and angry when I got back and I found out about it. And my mind was already screwed at that point anyway. So I basically told him, I was like, look, you took my family from me right out from underneath me, basically. I was like, so you might as well just go ahead and adopt my son, because if I ever lay eyes on you again, I'm probably going to kill you.
Right.
And so I ended up signing my biological rights, my parental rights over to her so that he could adopt my son. Which I think about every day to this day now too, because of the man and father that I've become now.
Is that a regret? Or is it something?
Now it is, yeah, but not at the time, because I was selfish. I was only thinking about myself. I was only thinking about what I would do if I ever laid eyes on him.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't pretty, because I was angry. My head wasn't right. My
mm-hmm.
head wasn't on right. So that happened. After I finally got out and whatnot, during my time in, I met some friends playing at this pickup sandlot league, and they became really good friends. They weren't friends at first because I played against them, so I hated them. But they became really good friends, and he was the softball coach at a junior college in North Carolina. So I ended up moving in with him and his wife, live with them. I'm waiting for my financial aid to come in and whatnot. So I'm not really enrolled into school, but the coach still let me play on the fall baseball team. And I walked on. They had walk-on tryouts, and I walked on. And I was 23, and he was like, Where you been? I was like, well, I was in the Marine Corps. I'm from Pennsylvania. I was in the Marine Corps. My friend lives right on the other side of the field there. It was an apartment complex behind the junior college where he lived. And I was like, I walked over here. I heard about tryouts. I love baseball. I'm still pretty damn good. I'm going to try out. And he's like, okay, yeah. All right, we'll see after 3 days. So 3 days of tryouts, killed it. He come up to me after the tryouts. He was like, you can play for me any day.
There you go.
So here I am, 23. I'm playing with 18, 19-year-olds. I get my balls busted on a daily, calling me grandpa, like.
You've been the old man from the get-go.
That's fine, bro. Do you know where I just come from?
Right.
You know where I just come from. Let's go run some polls, young man.
Right.
You and me, let's go run some polls. Let's see who lasts longer.
Right.
Once they found out that I was a Marine, they stopped fucking with me.
Oh,
not one of them fucked with me.
Oh, and they looked up to you.
I was running their dicks in the dirt.
Yeah. I was gonna say they looked up to you just by work ethic alone. You were probably just crushing it.
Yep.
A grown-ass man versus kids. And then not only a grown-ass man, again, me 23 against you 23, a whole different story. So, like, someone seen what you've seen, been through what you've been through, and then you come and play, you know, a kid's game again. Oh, you're just loving life, man. And you're the leader of the team.
And I think, like, that kept me from doing unspeakable things to...
Sure.
Again, to my... now ex-wife, ex-friend, myself.
I was gonna say, let's be real. What about yourself?
Yeah, baseball. It took me back to when I was a kid, and you know, I loved being on a baseball field because my mom couldn't beat me.
Right.
You know, I couldn't. You know, so baseball was always. It never cheated on me. It never beat me. It never. You know. Baseball always loved me back.
Yeah.
So, I was in heaven. And